Howdy everyone, and welcome to episode 39 of Osahra. I'm staying true to my word and am releasing this on the same weekend as I released part 1 of building the international airport of El Canem of Osahra, and it is great to actually be able to release this back to back. I honestly did not think I could do it. I've got the craziest schedule at the moment and didn't think I could squeeze this build in, but I did. Stayed up super late, got it done, and I'm really happy with the result. You're probably realizing that I don't have Skip here with me today, as we just couldn't make our timeline, our timetable sync up, but I will join him in the very last episode of Osahra, which will be up on his channel in a few weeks' time, so don't miss that one. That'll be so damn good. I know exactly what he's got up to, what he's going to get up to, sorry, and it's a good finale. It's a damn good finale. And for those people who probably left comments in the first part of this this airport build, I can't respond at the moment because I'm recording this before I can even check all those comments. Who knows, maybe nobody commented, but if somebody did comment, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to make any references to it. But yeah, we are back building the international airport, and in this episode I'm going to be pretty much just focusing on the detail section of this domestic terminal and the international terminal. And it's going to be a pretty special build because I'm going to be building a bit of a construction site for one of the terminals. Now, I don't know whether they're expanding into an international terminal or whether they're just expanding the airport in general, but somewhere along the line, this airport is under some sort of construction, and they're pretty much just expanding its capacity and expanding to another building within the airport, which is something I'm going to be working on at towards the end of the episode. And for those of you who missed the first episode, well, maybe you should go and check that out. It's I'm just going to leave a little card jumping up on your screen right now, but go and check it out so that this episode makes a little bit more sense for you. But I pretty much just built the layout of this airport in that episode and was just talking about the inspiration for this build. So we're going to jump back to that right now, which is this airport in Algeria. And I still don't know the name of the town or the city that it sits at, or the name of the airport. It's just here, and I'm just looking at it. And I chose it because it's somewhat of a basic style of airport, which is what I wanted to go for. Nothing too flash, nothing too amazing. But what I did really like about it is that it has this construction site where they which is pretty much spawned the idea to build a construction site within this airport. And I'm pretty sure I said that they were building an international terminal. However, I'm pretty sure the entire airport is actually international. But I got a little bit confused, and you guys actually might be able to help me out here. But I was under the impression that international flights would probably only have these gates that connect from the building to the actual airline. And this airport doesn't have that. This airport, well, I mean, the old version of the airport just had these, had the access so that you pretty much have to walk along the tarmac, the actual taxiways, to your airline, or even catch one of those annoying buses that's, everybody hates so much when you have to jump on a bus to go to your flight. But, they call this airport an international airport, and I'm pretty sure the terminal that they're building is, in fact, actually just another domestic terminal. So, shed some light on that for me, please, because I couldn't really figure out, and I actually didn't really do much of an investigation, but every international flight I've ever flown has been through one of those gates, and, probably half the time that I catch a domestic flight, I'll have to walk across the tarmac. So, let me know in the comments below if you probably all have a far better idea than I do, but I'm sort of calling this build that the construction site on El Canem International Airport is in fact them building the international site. I think being Osahra, being the sort of city that it is, it's definitely on the rise in terms of tourism and in terms of wealth. So I think that they probably would have had some sort of domestic terminal before they had an international one. So I think it makes sense that they're constructing that one now. However, I think it's a different story for this one that I'm pulling inspiration from. So you might want to hit me up in the comments and let me know. I'm definitely no airport genius. I have practically no idea how these bloody things work. But I do really enjoy building them, and it was really cool jumping onto this project and building this airport in such a short amount of time, and that's why I'm pretty much just sticking with the detailing part on this episode. We did not do any detailing, expanding on the runways or on where cargo sits or anything like that, but you have seen me work on early in this episode. I've been working on this shuttle bus that's basically transporting people from the terminal to their airlines, pretty much what I was talking about before. And to see this actual bus in action, I'm going to be dragging a bus path all the way into the center of the city of Elkenem, and then cycling it back to the airport so that we can actually see a bit of people kind of coming in and out. And it's probably not very realistic, a bus going all the way into the city and then driving all the way into the actual where planes actually sit. That's obviously not the case. But I did want to see people kind of coming in and out, and I wanted to see a lot of movement happening, and it worked really nicely. I saw quite a lot of cars coming in and out and people actually using the terminal, and it's actually pretty cool because you're probably seeing on the screen that a lot of people are actually sitting on the actual tarmac, which is so damn cool. It makes it just look like that people are kind of waiting for that shuttle bus to pick them up and take them over. But again, this is something that I noticed actually within that airport within Algeria. So that's a great inspiration for me, and that was actually kind of like the whole point of the reason why I actually built it. And even the actual bus shelter, it actually sits pretty much in the same position. But I don't really detail too much around that area, just bits and pieces to get some cool cinematics at the end. And you've been seeing me play with these taxiway networks. They are really, really cool, especially when you get some airport service vehicles driving up and down them. As you can see, I pretty much only just have the buses driving up and down at the moment. But I think if I was going to build another airport down the track, or even just put a little bit more detail into this airport, I would have really loved to, join all these taxiways up all around the actual airport, drive into service bays and different terminals and the luggage vehicles and, all the other bits and pieces that are kind of driving around the airports. And, at the moment we just get the buses, and every now and again there's a stray taxi or two, which is kind of annoying. Even though I do ban them, they still seem to come onto the actual roads. However, I think it makes for a really, really cool effect, and it kind of just adds a bit more business to the airport, which is generally pretty dead in City Skylines. I know that I'm actually going to go back and fix up a couple of things in Springwood's International Airport, because I didn't really have that I didn't have any of those sort of service roads at all at that stage, and we were talking about 7 months ago. So there's quite a lot of new assets that are now sitting up on the workshop that I'll probably end up implementing into my own Springwood series, so that'd be pretty cool. But at the moment on the screen, and I'm just I'm starting to detail the outer skirts of the domestic terminal. So I am now officially calling this the domestic terminal, even though Osahra isn't exactly a big city, so a big country, I should say. I think we're going to have to imagine that there are more cities out there, are more towns out there within Osahra. But in terms of the actual detail work I'm putting into this, I really just wanted to keep it pretty basic. Just plopping down mostly trees and foliage, and some small bushes just here and there. I wanted to keep it feeling quite wild. I've been to quite a lot of different airports around the world, and some airports are really well manicured and groomed, and you can tell there's been a lot of money being put into it, and especially the ones around the bigger cities. But around smaller cities, they are pretty randomly placed on fields and in forests, and all sorts of unusual areas. And this one sitting in a desert, there would be quite a lot of different foliage and different environmental impacts on this actual area. So I want you just to sort of imagine, and this is what I was imagining as I was building, that there was development when they first created these terminals, and the way it looked, and then now nature sort of creeps back up and is sort of taking over certain parts that aren't as well manicured as other areas. So you can probably see quite a lot of sand coming into some of this more grassed areas. We probably get quite a lot of dust storms within Osahra, so that's what that is, a lot of sand creeping onto well manicured areas. But in general, this airport is in desperate need for some repairs, and that is why they've started doing the expansion, and that is why there is a massive construction site going on and actually building that extra terminal. And for this side at least, I want it looking like it is desperate, desperately needs some updating. And I sort of felt that way about Osahra. I felt like Osahra was in the midst of becoming a little bit more wealthier, becoming a little bit more into the more modern side of things. And I think that's what I'm really going to miss about building Osahra. I'm not building on any other map that is anywhere similar to the builds that we get up to on an Osahrian map. Just building within that theme, building within that mentality. I'm really going to miss that. There's so much that I loved about Osahra, and I know I said it in the last episode, but please let us know what you are going to miss about this series. There's so much I'm going to miss. I am really going to miss doing commentary skip, having someone next to me. I hate doing it by myself. I really do struggle with it. But doing with Skip, it's been really, really nice. I'm definitely going to have to find some more excuses just to have him along in some of my other episodes, my other series. But, outside of Skip, I think I'm going to miss the actual theme the most, and probably the community as well, because we have such a strong bunch of people who are kind of coming along every episode, putting in their inputs and coming up with a whole bunch of really, really, really interesting stories for Osahra. And I'm definitely going to miss all these awesome assets that I have access to. I don't think I can really justify placing down some Osahrian flags in Springwood or some tanks in Down Under, but we'll find a way. We'll find a way to creep the two series together. Maybe that could be some sort of Easter egg within my series. Who knows? Maybe keep an eye out for that. Might reward you with some sort of cinematic video. I don't know, better stop plugging my own stuff. Let's stick with the actual build. And what I am doing is just doing some real light detailing on this entrance. By light, I mean heavy. There is nothing light about this. I really go to town trying to actually get the feeling that I want, that was in my head for this entrance. And what I was going for was kind of a real clash of a bit of a clash in themes. So I really wanted this grand, a bit like a pretty grand entrance to Osahra. You jump off the plane and then all of a sudden you're greeted with flowers and you're greeted with hedges and these big flags that are flying around, and that's what I wanted. I wanted it to look like it was a real entrance into the country, but then at the same time I wanted the entrance to sort of be quite run down, cracks and busy and lots of people. And I also think we get there, there's lots of people walking around and coming in and out of the terminal, which is really cool. That's something I didn't really quite achieve quite as well in Springwood's airport, but this airport for some reason attracted so many people. However, they didn't really want to park in my parking lot, which is really annoying. Went to a lot of time and effort to make some really great parking for them and drag paths all the way through it so that people can actually walk around there, but nah, they just didn't want to do it. They'd rather catch a taxi or catch the bus, which is fine, but it's annoying. It's really annoying. But yeah, it's really, really cool to see lots of people walking around and interacting with the environment, which is great. And what I'm kind of doing at the moment, and I'll be doing for just a little while, is just doing some seriously light detailing around this area, just to expand on the airport a bit and to show that it's the greater picture of the whole airport, and to sort of set the scene for the construction site, which is going to be built just in just a little while. But this little site that I'm building is just a maintenance area where a lot of the maintenance trucks and crates and bits and pieces to maintain the airport is kept. So just sort of going with a real general look, pretty much just plopping down anything that looks airporty in that area to sort of show that it's been stored around there. But also, I spent a bit of time looking at pictures of this particular airport in Algeria, and I found lots of pictures of lots of airport items just being left on the actual tarmac, which is kind of random and sort of felt a little bit unsafe, but kind of fit the Osahrian vibe, I think. So left quite a lot of that stuff around, just sitting next to the planes and stuff. And now we're starting to get into the actual construction sites. So, I am following the general gist of this airport and wanted to kind of get the same road layout, because I did want to have the feeling that, as this building is being constructed, a lot of these roads are sort of makeshift and they're sort of going in all sorts of directions. But also know that a lot of these roads being used will probably end up being paved and turned into the actual roads that will be used within the terminal. So to make sure it looks realistic, it makes more sense to actually follow that same structure. Because I don't really know how these things work, I can only assume. But as you can see that I've placed the actual terminal building on this arch angle, and the dirt road that services that construction site, that terminal, will end up being paved and will end up turning into the road that will be connected to the terminal. And you can see this because I wanted the road to look like it was an extension from the car park on the domestic side. So if you keep an eye out for that, you might notice a couple of things that I wanted to include to make it so that it looked like it was an actual addition to the airport, but also its own entity, will be a far more up-to-date version of, the Elkanem airport. And I am using more of Vladimir's airport buildings. He's made just the most amazing assets for airports that you pretty much don't need anything else to build a really fantastic looking airport. Really diverse airport as well. Something, it's something that's really great with, really awesome assets is when they come in a pack and then you can use them to create really unique buildings, which is what Vladimir has done so well with, so many of the packs that he's given us. And I guess I'm doing something pretty unique to it because I wanted it to look like it was still under construction. Probably thinking that the main structure of it was probably like 80% complete. They're probably still putting in some windows and some more, different sort of structures, but the main building, the main bulk of it was actually fully complete. So, the scaffolding really helped to show that it was still under construction, and I've also embedded a couple of planks of concrete into it to make that look like they're areas that still needed to be paved or, tiled or something like that. And I was really surprised at how easy it was to actually make this look like it was still under construction. Just scrolling through my props and finding all bits and pieces, these concrete pillars and beams and pretty much anything that looked like it was part of a construction site was really well fitted. And I probably actually went, too random at times. I was really just plopping down anything, pretty much anything in piles. And I probably could have stuck to more of a theme, really thought about what went where. But I really just wanted to get the feeling of just a random big construction site. Lots of materials being used and lots of different piles sort of sitting around and just a lot of random construction bits and pieces. It's amazing. You just kind of plop down a whole bunch of random things and can kind of look like the general gist of what you're going for. And I think the general gist is pretty much what sums up this construction site, I guess. One thing that I don't know are airports, and on top of that, I have no idea about airport construction sites. Like, Jesus, like that is going into a whole different territory of airports for me. But now that I've built 2 airports, I'm starting to feel pretty confident in my ability, and this one was kind of big challenge because I really didn't have enough time to actually go into full depth of what an airport really looks like and how it functions. But like I said in the last episode, go and check out Springwood International Airport or FBS if you really want to check out some super detailed airport builds. This one was going for more of a theme. This one was going for the general gist and the vibe of an Osahrian airport. And I think a lot of people wanted to see it. So I hope it's been entertaining. Please do leave me some feedback in the comments. I'd love to know what your impressions are. And, there must be some great stories behind it. I mean, who knows? Maybe this construction site is super old and it's just been abandoned like so many projects are within Osahra. I built a project a little while ago, actually, a couple of episodes ago, and there was a half-constructed neighborhood being built, and, I really love building those things. And this construction site is something that I really want to start building a little bit more of. I love actually building in this site and, figuring out what the end product was of this terminal, what it was going to really look like, where all the paths are going to sit and how it's going to function, and then really taking it down a notch and thinking about how they would construct something like that. It's like looking into the future and then building off that future build, which was sort of interesting for me to do. So I think I'm going to be building a few more of those, a bit more construction site buildings in the near future. However, that will not take place in Osahra because this is my last ever build. I am pretty sad about it, actually, to be honest. Pretty sad that this is my last Osahrian build, but it felt well fitted and it felt right. It felt like a good build. And if you want to see how this series wraps up, well then go and check out Skip's channel. He'll be releasing a video in the next few weeks that will really wrap up Osahra. Who knows what he's going to come up with? Well, I know, but you guys will have to just find out because, it's going to be so damn good, and I'm really, really excited for you guys to check it out. So go and sub to his channel if you haven't already, and wait anxiously for that episode. And he hasn't even started building that yet, so if you want to leave him some comments below prompting him to build something or add something in, I'm pretty sure he's going to be checking the comments, so definitely hit him up and we'll see if he can start implementing some of the things that you are suggesting. But that is it for this episode. That is it for my builds in Osahra. It has been a pleasure, and I'll join you guys on Skip's channel in a few weeks. But yeah, have a great week, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later.